Hello, and welcome to a very special Logiwa QuickTake webinar. My name is Michelle Trong, Product Marketing Manager here at Logiwa. If this is your first time joining us at a QuickTake webinar, we're excited to welcome you. For our returning guests, we're thrilled to have you back. Our QuickTake webinars are meant to be a 15-minute dive into a WMS topic, and we have a very special webinar in store today. Joining me is a seasoned panel of Logiwa experts ready to answer your WMS questions. We invite you to ask our experts your questions on anything related to our product platform, emerging trends in the D2C fulfillment space, and other warehousing operations questions. I'd like to introduce you to our panel. First is Shaheen Daprem on our software engineering team. Next is Lydia Kamansky on our product operations team. And finally is Serchan Yasar on our onboarding team. Thank you all for being here with us today to answer some important questions. Before we start, let's go over some housekeeping rules. Please use the Q&A chat function to ask any questions. We will try our best to answer them all during the webinar. Otherwise, we will reach out to you afterwards. We recommend you view the webinar in full screen mode for optimal viewing. To get the conversation started, I'd first like to touch base on the state of the D2C fulfillment environment. We're all familiar with the pain points when it comes to high volume, direct-to-consumer fulfillment. Due to the increased order volumes that come within this territory, it's crucial to manage the tight delivery windows associated with these orders. In this high volume D2C environment, you have to be able to handle increased throughput, maintain order accuracy, and meet your service level agreements in order to be successful. Not only that, but we have to contend with other challenges. We know that labor makes up about 60% of a warehouse budget, so labor optimization is crucial. In that same vein, we know that 20% is the average of the temporary workforce during peak season, meaning in order to meet that increased demand during that time, you have to hire more staff. And we know that approximately 50% of the time it takes to pick an order is spent traveling around the warehouse. That is just not an efficient use of your workforce's time. To meet those challenges, Logiwa has created a cloud-native order fulfillment and warehouse management software solution. We meet those challenges by bucketing our solution into 3 parts. First is inventory sync and order routing. By looking at that first box on the left, you can see the different sales channels bringing data into our system. With our ability to manage inventory in real time across multiple systems all at once, it doesn't matter if you're connecting multiple online stores, ERP systems, EDI providers, or even a manual Excel upload. Logiwa makes it easy. From there, we'll be able to fulfill your high volume orders with the help of our automation rules. This will help you dropship, replenish storefronts, fulfill your warehouses, or even handle your fulfillment by Amazon orders all under one roof automatically. Next is warehouse operations. Logiwa handles every major warehouse process, from smart put away, intelligent batch creation, to picking and allocation algorithms, allowing you to run a fully mobile environment while leveraging our AI-enabled tools, which creates a 40% increase in labor efficiency for our customers on average. And finally, our labeling and shipping is a differentiator. You can go rate shopping directly from Logiwa and leverage our high volume printing capabilities at the packing station to get your orders out more quickly and easily than ever before, and at the lowest rate possible. So how do we do this? It comes down to the data a client is feeding into our system. If there's a piece of data, an attribute, that we have about an item or a shipment order, then we can use that data to configure one or more parts of the system to help the customer accomplish their goal. Any data that is provided can be applied and configured across all parts of the warehouse process. You can see how truly flexible our solution is. And we can set up these configurations or make updates to them pretty quickly, meaning you can meet your goals and objectives fast and efficiently. Now that you know a little more about Logiwa, let's dive into your hot button WMS questions and get them answered by our Logiwa panel of experts. All right. So we did receive a number of questions beforehand, so we'll start with those. And as a reminder, if you have any questions you'd like to share, please use the Q&A box on your screen. So first off, I have a question for Search on our onboarding team. Optimization at every stage of fulfillment is important, but which warehouse process is overlooked the most?
Yeah, so when we talk about optimization and like efficiency, we usually see that the first priority, and it is the first priority, of course, for fulfillment warehouses to focus on their outbound processes, like picking, packing, sorting, and all those good stuff. But we know that this optimization actually starts before the outbound process, like during inbound process. And we see that this part of the optimization is usually overlooked, especially the put away process. So how you put away the products in the warehouse, how you place them, how you store them, directly affects your picking efficiency and therefore the outbound efficiency in general. So we see that a lot of the warehouses don't utilize suggested put away functions. They depend on their users to find the best place to store their products. But in this complicated fulfillment environment where you have like thousands of SKUs, sometimes hundreds of thousands of SKUs, you have to use put away algorithms that and put some rules on it so you find the best place to put these products in for both to organize your warehouse, utilize the space better, but also most importantly to create more efficiencies during picking. Like for example, finding the fast moving products and placing them close to the packing stations. That can be one of the main use cases, or keeping the same items close to each other, fulfilling the picking locations during put away can be some examples of creating efficiencies before outbound process starts. So that's the biggest process that I see warehouses are like uh, not utilizing or don't work on as much as outbound efficiencies. Another thing can be how the warehouses handles the exceptions that happens in the warehouse. We usually don't see a very standardized process to handle issues that happens during packing, during picking especially, and there should be a streamlined process to handle all of that. Everything should be clear. The responsibilities, how to handle each type of issues should be very clear, because we see a lot of the warehouses, they lose a lot of time when the picker goes to a location and can't find the product in that location. What they are going to do afterwards takes a lot of time. Go back to the supervisor, try to like ask for another location to be allocated, another inventory to find the same item for, and then go back and continue picking. So this takes about 20 to 30 minutes sometimes, depending on the warehouse. So to handle that kind of issues, we also have like some functions like during picking, you can call for uh, inventory discrepancies, and the system automatically sends you to a new location that you can find the same item. So we don't stop picking. And during packing as well, you need to have some standardized, streamlined process to handle like what happens if the items doesn't match with what I see on the screen. How am I going to put them back? How am I going to cancel the orders or find this item that's supposed to be in this box? So these processes should be streamlined to make sure that you are not wasting any time during picking or packing as well. So those
Yeah.
are the two main processes that I see overlooked most of the time.
Yeah, awesome. Those are definitely bottlenecks in the process for sure. Next is a question for Shaheen regarding peak
Yeah.
season. We know
Mhm.
that peak season is around the corner. What's the best way to prepare for a busy peak season? And how do you ensure that your WMS is ready to handle that increased system stress?
Mhm. Yeah, Michelle, as we all know, the peak seasons are comes with its challenges, and you need to be prepared beforehand before it starts. And during the peak times, we observed that order volumes can skyrocket. I mean, in 2022's peak season, our customers shipped over 2 times more than their average day volume in the system, and we can proud to say that within this time, our application, Logiwa WMS, had an impressive track record of the 100% uptime, and our customers shipped their orders smoothly without having any issues within the system. And how can we do that? As a Logiwa technology team, we are always constantly monitoring our systems and the customer's health with multiple tools and over 300 alert services and anomaly detection mechanisms, performance tracking mechanism, and etc., which are preparing us, all the team and our system to handle any kind of increased load within the system. And also, in the first 2 quarters of the 2023, our customers already reached the amount of the shipment they had in the last year's peak season, which means we are still in the 2002's peak season. It doesn't over for us, so we are always prepared and we're always ready for it. And some of the customers even exceeded that number that are shipped in the last year's peak season. So we need to be sure that our system is always designed with the scalability and the resilience. And that's why our architecture is built to handle this kind of surges in the order times, order volumes seamlessly, minimizing the impact of our customers' operation. So, and also for the following peak season, we are forecasting over 3 times of the current volume, which means and millions of items will be processed through our systems, and as much as that carrier labels will be created within our systems in this critical period. And as a Logiwa and as a technology team, we are all aware of this issue and always ready and prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's incredible that we're still kind of seeing those 2022 peak season levels. It's like we're always
Yeah.
on peak season. And yeah, I think it's just interesting to note that, we're seeing peak season, traditional peak season move earlier and earlier up
Yeah.
into the, late summer, as opposed to the kind of the fall period. So that's really interesting. And yeah, great work on the technology side to ensure that we're always, able to keep our uptimes at 100% and able to deal with any of those technical issues. I have another question for Serchan regarding kind of D2C trends. Are you seeing any emerging warehouse trends that we should be aware of? And if so, what is Legiwa doing to address them?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So, we see a lot of warehouses, like even the warehouses that is pure B2B players, switching to D2C as well. So, D2C fulfillment is a trend by itself. But what are the trends for D2C fulfillment that we see this year? The biggest one that I've seen, and that's where everyone earns their money, right? Like the shipping labels. Like the cheapest shipping labels you can get, the better rates that you have, the more money you can earn. So that's the biggest trend that we see, and there are a couple of ways to establish that. Of course, one of the things is you need to make sure that you have a rate shopping option, especially if you are utilizing multiple carriers. This will be a great advantage. And the second one is what kind of rates you get. You may not have really good rates on your own as a warehouse, but now there are a lot of resellers and a lot of other third-party softwares that you can utilize to get better rates for the shipments. And some of them use different kind of zone skipping algorithms. Some of them has really good rates on their own for different kind of carrier options. And like we had a lot of integrations with these third-party software this year. That was one of the biggest integration trend that we've seen in our product, as well as what our customers are asking for usually is about that too. So we partnered with eHub for this case, Package Hub, TechShip, and more to come. We see a big trend in like coming up with zone skipping algorithms and cheaper rates for their shipping labels. So that's what we see. And when we talk about rate shopping, another thing that we worked on this year, which was very important for all of our customers, was uh, finding a cheapest option by the delivery date. So we were able to compare the rates and find the cheapest rate among the selected services, but we were not considering the delivery dates for that. And this is very important because so there's this main use case that we see coming up again and again. The customers may look for like 2-day shipping or express shipping options, but if this customer is really close to the warehouse, sometimes they are just across the street, for example, but because we see 2-day shipping option or overnight shipping option, the system tends to select a more expensive service for that because it's considered still an express option required. So this cheapest by delivery date option overcomes this problem. So with the cheapest by delivery date option, you can let the system pick according to the transit times of the shipping services, what's the cheapest rate. So you can make sure that you are going to deliver on time, but also get the cheapest rate according to that too. So that's the another thing that was very important for the warehouses that we worked on this year. Another trend is, of course, when you go to any trade show, the first thing that you see, the big event, is robotics, right? Like everyone is focusing on a new robotics tool for picking, for put away, for storage and transfers within the warehouse. uh, Especially, we've seen robotics tool helping a lot. I'm sorry, helping a lot during COVID because there were a lot of temp users in the warehouse. Especially when the temp users are involved, robotics helps a lot with the picking and packing to keep that process standardized because temp users are able to easily interact with robotics tools more. That helps them in that case. So as you know, we were already integrated with Locus Robotics, which is one of the biggest players in robotics area right now. And now we are integrated with Six Rivers as well, and we are going to extend our integrations from picking automations to also put away robotics integrations as well to create more robotics warehouses. This is one of our, as you know, our CEO is also uh, uh, is focused on the robotics integrations so much that we offer some of these integrations free of charge. So he's an enthusiast of robotics integrations. So I think we are going to see more robotics in the future. We are already seeing a lot in even mid-sized warehouses. We are not talking about like only Amazon warehouse having robotics now, but more warehouses having robotics in them. That would be another trend that I've seen. And the uh, last one that I can mention, I see a lot of warehouses utilizing uh, print and apply systems. So again, this is now uh, considered more like a mainstream function that a lot of warehouses that we see have conveyors and like print and apply systems to create more efficiencies during packing and printing shipping labels. So those are the things that I've seen so far this year, I can say.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing some of those emerging trends and how we're tackling them. It's really great insights. We have some questions from our audience. I'll throw them out there. The first one is regarding a B2B environment. And the question is, how can we configure our order management screen to accommodate master order for several smaller orders? The reason for this is we want to pick orders and finish them daily so that we don't lose the ability to utilize cycle count.
Okay, so this is a loaded question. I think there are more than one questions in it. The first one is basically creating a master order. We need to like open that term a little bit, what we mean by master order. It keep like we you know that we have our options to group the orders under jobs, what we call, which can be considered a master order. So you have a group of orders that you pick together. Are we talking about that? That can be one thing. And if not for that, since it's mentioned that this is also for a question regarding a B2B environment, I assume that it can be about grouping orders for one truck or grouping orders that goes to the same route and things like that. So we can do this with jobs, but we can also help with some other tool that we have called shipment trip management. So with this shipment trip function, we can also group orders under one shipment trip and have related information for that shipment trip uh, put on that shipment trip information. That can be another option. So that's the first part of the question, I think, like how can we group the orders
Mhm.
under order management. Uh, if you want to use order operation screen, you can use jobs, but we also have other screens that we might be able to help you. Let's like we need to follow up on this one to like open this up more and
Okay.
to understand more about which one works best for them.
Okay.
The second thing is about basically don't stop using the cycle count. One of the things about cycle count maybe is not known so much is when we do a cycle count on a location, even though there are allocations to the inventory, we first warn the user, of course, tell them that there's allocations. Do you still want to continue? Because you may be stopping the picking operation from that from here. But one thing that everyone should know here is we can still count that location even though there are allocations of the inventory. Because what our system does is when you finish the cycle count and update the inventory of the locations, the system automatically tries to allocate the same orders again. So you don't have to run the allocations again. The system is going to automatically do that after you finish the cycle count. So that might, if you don't know already, that might also be something that you can try out. Even during picking, you can cycle count this way.
Nice. Thank you for that, Sarchan. And we have another question from the audience here. Will Logiwa sometime in the future add a third UOM option?
Okay, yeah, this is a tricky one as well. Shine, do you want to say anything about this, or do you want me to
Yeah,
talk?
this one is really tricky. I don't want to make any promises about it, but for now, all I can say that the best way to utilize Logiwa is now having two option, and the third one is going to affect all of the operation within the system. So this one is a little bit tricky, and yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
say I don't make any promises
yeah.
there.
So the the thing about adding a UAM in our system is the package types are related with a lot of functions. Like it's a part of the allocation algorithms. It's a part of how we create and pick jobs from locations, and it's a part of packing operation as well. So it's not only about just an item master data, I can say, but it touches on everything
Yeah.
in the system.
Mhm.
So that's why we consider these kind of changes a core change, which requires a very big project to handle that. So since we are focusing on other changes right now, I don't see it on our roadmap
Mhm.
to have a third unit of measure. With that said, for the handling the third unit of measure, we usually usually find a really good workaround. If we can understand how you utilize the third unit of measure, I'm sure we can find a good workaround to cover up for those areas. Like one of these areas we see, for example, it can be just for billing purposes. And since our billing module is highly configurable, we can find a workaround on that, how you build the customers for picking third unit of measure, for example. Another thing that we utilize is LPNs as a third unit of measure. So we can use an LPN so you can know how many master cases you have still, for example. That can be another use case. But you may have a totally unique use case. I'm not saying we are covering all the use cases. Of course, we are talking about workarounds. But we can still open up this conversation again another time, maybe, if we can learn more about how you want to utilize this third unit of measure. I'm sure we can find something for it.
Yeah, these are really great questions.
Yeah.
Thanks to our audience for submitting those. I think we're just about at time. If there were any submitted questions that we were able to not get to, we'll make sure to get back to you one-on-one. But thank you so much to our panel of experts for their insights and answering all these awesome questions. That was a really great conversation. As a final reminder, in the fast-moving D2C fulfillment space, Logiwa makes a direct impact on your business. We hope you were able to get your WMS questions answered and that you learned how Logiwa could help answer your WMS needs. Again, a big thank you to you for joining us at our Logiwa QuickTake. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at sales@logiwa.com or grab some time with us at logiwa.com/request-a-demo. Thanks again to our amazing panel of experts and to you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at the next Logiwa QuickTake. Have a great day. Goodbye.